imagination can go anywhere. All right, take a deep breath. So let me just start with a story. This was last year, and I was traveling to US. I was in Austin, and one of those very, very gloomy evenings, I was a little depressed. A part of me was homesick. Another part of me was questioning and challenging what I was doing and what I am doing. There's a part of me that was really dissatisfied from life. There was a part of me that was doubting if I'm on the right path. I was with a friend of mine. We were driving, and it was around 5:36 in the evening. And she asked me, "Hey Gaurav, what happened? Why are you so silent?" I just shrugged my shoulders, took a deep breath, and did not answer. I did not have the answer. Anyone out here, have you ever experienced dissatisfaction in your life? Anyone? Dissatisfaction from what you're doing? Never. Dissatisfaction from the work that you're doing? Dissatisfaction from how much you're earning? Dissatisfaction from the house that you have? Dissatisfaction how well or unwell your children are doing? Dissatisfaction from your spouse? So she asked me this question. I said, no idea, and I did not have the answer. She said, "Hey Gaurav, how about going to watch the sunset?" In Austin, there's one of the places called Mount Bonnell. And all those people who have been to that Mount Bonnell, it's one of the most fascinating spots you can have to experience what sunset is all about. There I was, sitting alone. At the top of the mountain I was sitting. I remember this is how I was sitting. And this is where I was watching the sunset. In my deep thoughts. No answer, what am I doing in this life? Why I'm doing what I'm doing? I did not have any answer. And I said that why do I do this? That every place that I visit, I go to a spot that is the highest in that city or a state. And then from there, look at the world. The world looks beautiful. Lots of lights, lots of greenery. And yet, there's a part of me that is longing that will I be able to reach that high? A question that came to me was that how would that be in case I can reach the highest point in my own evolution as a human being? I'll repeat that question. How would that be in case I can reach that highest point in my own evolution as a human being? That question was further depressing for me because I did not have the answer. There I was struggling with another question. I said, let me just park this question on one side because that's too loud a question for me. And as I was sitting there, again I started watching the sunset. And I asked that question, what's the message that the universe has got to tell you? Sitting alone, ladies and gentlemen, in Austin at Mount Bonnell, there's this gentleman from India looking at the universe, looking at the sunset and asking this question, what's the message that the universe has got to tell me? The universe did give me an answer. While I was sitting there, a group of people, they came and they said, hey, excuse me, gentlemen. I turned back. Are you talking to me? A group of 6 people, probably from different nationalities. Are you from the same land where people believe in spirituality a lot? And I was very curious. Yes. Me being myself, I'm proud to be an Indian. Yes. Yes. I'm from India, gentlemen. Hi, my name is Sean, said the voice. Hi, my name is Gaurav Arora. Gaurav? Gaurav? What's your name? What did you say? I said, my name is Gaurav Arora. It happens with me, right? So if I ask 10 different people, what's my name? You'll get 10 different versions. Let's start with, my name is? Gaurav. Okay. And the final one. Fantastic, thank you. So for the last 8-10 years, since the time I've been traveling, I've heard probably 10,000 versions of my name. G-Man. So starting from G-Man, Gaurav, Gaurav, and the latest one was Giraffe. I just loved it, Giraffe. I just loved it. So this Sean said, hi, my name is Sean, and I said, hi, my name is Gaurav. Let me just introduce you to my friends. So there I was sitting, I just stepped down. I met another gentleman. He said, hi, my name is Aaron. Hi, Aaron, my name is Gaurav. Good to see you. Let me just introduce you to another friend of mine. The third friend, his name was Richie. Richie said, hi, I'm Richie. Some different accent, I don't know where these 6 people were from. And I said, hi Richie, my name is Gaurav. So there were 3 boys and 3 girls. And I looked at those 3 beautiful girls, very, very pretty girls, and out of courtesy I said, rather than they introducing themselves to me, let me introduce myself. I looked at the first girl. I said, hello ma'am, my name is Gaurav, I'm from India. She looked towards me as if the universe piercing through my eyes, deep into my heart. I got my first message. And trust me, as I'm going to share that with you, what happened then. Right now I can experience the goosebumps. Something magical happened, and that moment shifted my life for the lifetime. I will talk to you about what happened. Let's move on and let me ask you a very simple question. How many of you believe that you're born to be happy? Can I have a show of hands? You all believe that you're born to be happy? Right? My conversation with those 3 girls shifted my belief, what I believe that what I'm born for, right? I asked the same question, Gaurav, if I am born to be happy, what's stopping me to be happy? I asked you the very simple question. How many of you are dissatisfied from your life? And everyone was waving in the air, yes, no? Right? We are not satisfied either with our life or with our wife. The other way around as well. Either we are not happy with what we are doing, either what we are earning, what we are doing with our life, either the finances are not in place, the health is not in place, the vitality is not in place, or the spirituality is not in place. Something or the other is not in place. That is what is happening on one hand. On the other hand, we strongly believe that we are born to be happy. I got those 3 answers, right? I said there's something that I'm not doing right. And that is where I started my journey. From being in that gloomy position, dissatisfied from my life, experiencing my own emptiness and the dissonance within myself at one place which is like far miles and miles away from my place in Austin, from Mount Bonnell, and that's where my journey started. 1 step, 2nd step, 3rd step, 4th step, 5th step, and the journey continued. I asked this question for myself that if I'm born to be happy, what stops us from being happy? And what is happiness? Let me ask the same question. What stops us from being happy? And what is happiness for you? What is happiness? Trust me, I've got no clue what happiness is all about.
It's the lack of suffering.
Lack of suffering, okay?
Shared joy.
Shared joy, okay?
What stops us is distraction, because we are happy, but we get distracted sometimes. Don't notice it.
Distracted, lack of suffering, joy, shared joy. Sorry? Say it again. Health, okay? Everything seems to be in the right and the natural place. I don't know what place are you talking about, but I'll buy that. Yeah. Balance, you said? Not balanced. That's happiness for you. Okay. Mr. Red T-shirt. What is happiness for you?
Lack of appreciation.
Lack of appreciation. Okay, thank you.
I think happiness is a side effect. When we know the meaning of things, we can have the so happiness.
Happiness is side effect. Okay, and Russians. What is happiness? Balance. Okay. Yeah, you. So she's the one who's right. Please give her a big round of applause.
What did she say?
That I didn't understand. Because she was closest to what I believe happiness is. I have got no clue what happiness is.
Happiness is a choice.
Happiness is a choice. Thank you so much. So if you look at around 50, 60 people sitting here, we have got 60 versions of happiness. And my journey started to define what happiness is all about and what stops me from being happy. And did not get an answer. I said, okay, let me just do some research. So I started listening to different people. So I heard Dalai Lama. Make sense? I said, Dalai Lama could be happy or Pamela Anderson could be happy. So Pamela Anderson gave an answer that I was very satisfied with. And Dalai Lama said, and I could relate with Pamela Anderson, what Pamela Anderson said in her own version, in her own verses and in her own words. Dalai Lama said it's enhanced satisfaction. And Pamela Anderson said the same thing. Enhanced satisfaction. I said, let me do some more research on that. What is happiness and what stopped me from being happy? And I started doing some more research, and that's where I bumped into a study called Grant study. G-R-A-N-T. Based on a gentleman called William T. Grant. It's one of the longest longitudinal 75-year study that started in the year 1939 with a group of 268 men. Where every 10 years, every decade, they started understanding what's bringing satisfaction and happiness in their lives. So what I realized, and that's where I started looking deep within myself, through my eyes, in my own life, I realized that I tend to focus on things which I don't have, rather than focusing on things which I do have. Yes, no? Right? So let me share a very simple example with you. Yesterday I was sitting with this friend of mine, new friend of mine, right? I was sitting with you, right? So when I was talking to you, I love the kind of technical bent that you have, right? For a moment I was very happy. On the other hand, I was like dissatisfied. I don't have that, right? Without realizing in a spur of a moment, from being happy, I moved to unhappiness. Because I was focusing on things that I don't have rather than focusing on things that I do have. Right? This principle resonated with me. I said, it does make sense. So, I said, then what? What should I do? It was still ringing bell that, okay, all the things that if I start focusing on things that I do have, I'll be happy and satisfied, the enhanced satisfaction that the Dalai Lama spoke about, rather than focusing on things that I don't have and they get dissatisfied. So, hang on this thought. Let me just take you back to the story. Right? Going back to the story, here I was talking to Sean, Aaron and Richie, right? I looked at that girl. First girl, second girl and the third girl. I looked at the first girl, I said, hello ma'am, my name is Gaurav. I'm from India. I told you, right, the answer actually pierced through my eyes, helped me to experience what heaven is all about, and I got goosebumps. She looked into my eyes and said, hi Gaurav, my name is Hope. And trust me, right now as I'm talking to you, my ears are getting warm. I'm getting goosebumps and I can see the rush of emotions in my eyes right now as well. I didn't know what happened to me. Suddenly something happened to me. I froze. I took a deep breath. I said, either I'm dreaming or somebody is playing a prank with me. This is not possible. How is it possible that you are standing alone, you're sitting alone in the most gloomy state of your own being? You're asking this sad question from yourself that nothing is working in my life. And here, you ask a question that what is the message that the universe has got to tell you? And here comes somebody and says, you know what? A Chinese looking girl or a Korean looking girl. Hi, my name is Hope. I said, okay, there's something working right in my life. I looked at the second girl. I said, hi, my name is Gaurav, I'm from India. With the same piercing eyes, lady, that you have. She looked deep into my eyes and she said, my name is Faith. And I said, there's something wrong. And I started saying to myself, all is well. Take a deep breath and say, all is well, all is well, all is well. It's not a dream, it's a reality. There's some message that the universe is telling you. I looked at the third girl and I said, you know what? If she's hope, she's faith, you must be love. And guess what happened?
She is.
She said, yes. And that's where I encountered hope, faith, and love in my life. And that's where, when I started my journey, I started looking at things that I really focus on. What are the things that really I'm really appreciative of in my life, rather than looking at things that's not working. Because focusing on things that are not working, they will further expand and you will further get into the state of dissatisfaction that we love being in. Let me ask you a very simple question. How many of us have got PhDs in things that's not going well? Can I have show of hands? PhDs. We are all doctorates in that. This is not working, that is not working, this is not working, that is not working. And trust me, that was the only time when somebody came to me and said, you know what, Susan? I'm hope, I'm faith, and I'm love. Probably, the person who's sitting next to you is hope for you. Just look around, you never know. The person who's sitting on your table is hope for you, is faith for you, and is love for you. Just look around on your table. Who represents hope for you? Just look around. Who represents faith for you? And all the beautiful girls, look here. Who represents love for you? So as I mentioned to you, right, where you focus on, that will further expand. And so don't focus on all the wrong things, right? They'll expand. So I did some study on grant study. I did some research in the grant study. As I mentioned to you, grant study was done by Harvard, and it's the longest longitudinal study for 75 years, right? What they found is two things. One is that happiness is love. You might have the swankiest of the car. If you're not happy with the family that you're sitting with, you'll be dissatisfied deep within yourself, right? The second point said that people can change, right? So all the ladies who believe that men are dogs, can I have show of hands? Men are dogs, right? So they could be prettier dogs as well, but they'll remain dogs. So what I mean is that people can change. So if you look at the common denominator in both the point, the first one is love is happiness is love, and the second point is people can change. If you look at the common denominator is people. No point in the complete study spoke about that it's money that you require to be happy. Nowhere in that study spoke about that you require a big house for yourself to be happy. And if you look at the happiest countries in the world, whether it's Denmark or Bhutan, you'll realize that they're no way in any competition with the wealthiest of the nation. And yet they are in the highest point in terms of the happiness index. And that's where my journey began, when I realized this first point where the Dalai Lama said that happiness is all about enhanced satisfaction. where he spoke about warm-heartedness, and the study proved the same point, that happiness is love and people can change. I felt really happy. And that's where I started looking at my own life. Let me share with you what happened. The first point that I said, okay, what is really required that can actually help me to be happy is acceptance and appreciation. And when I'm talking about acceptance and appreciation, I've got only 2 points to share with you. One is acceptance and appreciation. Second point I'll come to you. When I look at acceptance and appreciation, I said, okay, do I accept myself? And my answer was no. Not because I don't have a lot of wealth, not because I don't have a swanky car, not because I don't have a palatial house, not because I don't have loads and loads of money, not because I don't have 10 different things. Somewhere or the other, even if I have everything, I don't accept myself. Right? So let's talk about what happened just last night. I was talking with him and I said, you know what, could you help me to design it really well, the PPT really well? Because he has that technical bent. And he shared a few points for the deep down one, and I was like really happy. While I was walking back, I felt deep dissatisfaction. I said, hey, hold on, Gaurav. What you're talking about and what you believe in, they are 2 different points. What you're talking about and what you believe in, 2 different points. At this point in time, how can you accept yourself fully? How can you really appreciate what you already have rather than focusing on what you don't have? And that is where I said, okay, as much as I need to bring this into my own life, I need to bring in my own life as far as the common denominator factor is concerned. And what is the common denominator factor? People, relationships, right? So there I was last month. I was reading a program and I was talking about relationship and how important relationships are in your life. So while I was doing that, I was just stepping into a zone where I was talking about that, you know what, it's very important to maintain close relationships. It's very important to dine together. It's very important to get into the communal services, right? It's very important to do something for the other person as well. It's very important to express gratitude. Yes, no? Right? Then I was leading a program, started talking about relationship, and I was in Bangalore, which is one of the places in South India. Something struck me, and I was spellbound. I could not continue with the session. Because on one hand, I was talking about relationship. In Bangalore stays one of my closest friends. His name is Sanket. Now, Sanket is a South Indian based out of Bangalore, one of my closest friends. We are friends since 3rd standard. And while it was going on, I got stuck because so this happened 1.5 months back. Before 1.5 years, I've stopped talking with him because of some small thing. That moment was a deep introspective moment for me. And I started questioning 2 things. One is that, are you authentic? Because here what you're talking about, you don't believe in yourself. You don't believe in your friends. And you're a bugger, you know what, you have not spoken to this friend of yours for 1.5 years. And you're talking about relationship here. On the other hand, I was questioning myself, you know what? I'm not expressing gratitude enough. Now that was the moment, and fortunately I had a tea break. During the tea break, I called this friend of mine, Sanket, and he just spoke to me. He said, hey dude, how are you doing? I said, doing very well. So what's happening? We started talking as if we spoke just 2 hours before that moment. In that one moment, everything vanished, everything evaporated as if nothing happened for 1.5 years. Now that was the moment I realized that the moment I'm willing to bring a shift in myself, I'm willing to bring that deep sense of gratitude in my own self, when I'm willing to accept myself the way I am, the other person will shift. That was magical for me. That was the moment when I realized that what true happiness is all about. So on one hand, I was there charging few $1,000s for that workshop, and that was not giving me that satisfaction that I was looking for, and the enhanced satisfaction, the happiness I was talking about. On the other hand, that one call gave me what I was looking for. Now, there's another spin to gratitude. Now, the other spin to gratitude is when people talk about that gratitude is not about thanking for what you already have. It's also about giving what the other person needs. So the relationship that you already have, it's about giving to that person as well. So we'll talk about that as well. However, let's take a pause here. Let's take a quick 2 minutes pause and write down for yourself what are the things that you're really appreciative about. Who are those people that you would like to express gratitude to? What are the things that's going really well in your life? It could be health, it could be vitality, it could be your spiritual health, it could be your friends, your parents, your mom, your dad, your friends. So if I look at myself, I'm the product of the work that my friends have done onto me. I'm the product of what my teachers have given me. I'm so thankful to Lawrence and Merlin for what they have done to me. You know, I remember 2 years back when I met Lawrence held me from here and he said, you know what, Gaurav? You are like my son. And trust me, I actually melted in that moment. I realized that what all universe can give you. Just imagine somebody who's settled in Canada, met you in Turkey. Of course, we have known each other for many years. But that one moment, you know what Peter spoke about, that felt shift? There's something shifted inside me. You know, as Abraham Lincoln said, that I am successful not because I am so good, I am successful because I could not afford to let my friends down who believed in me. So the very fact that I'm a speaker here, it's not what I've done in the last 3 years or 5 years or 10 years. It's possibly the trust of my friends who impose that trust onto me that I can't afford to let them down. And by the way, the same thing applies to girls as well. I can't afford to let them down as well. Alright, so just take 2 minutes pause and write down all the things, all the people, all the good things that's happening in your life that you're really happy about, that you would like to express your thank you. So just write down for 2 minutes and then we'll take it forward. I know it's less time, isn't it? Yeah, the moment you start that and open that Pandora box, it's less time. So it all begins from yourself as well. How many of you actually thanked yourself for who you are and what you do for yourself and others? Can I have show of hands? So it all, acceptance and appreciation begin with your own self. And that's what I started in my life. You know, as I mentioned to you, there's another spin to gratitude. The spin to gratitude says that it's not about thanking for things that you already have. It's also about doing something for somebody else as well. Yes, no? Right? So if you look at your own life, how many of you have actually experienced ego in your life? That you know what? I am something. Anyone? Anyone who has never experienced ego? So all of us, right? And ego says, you know what? I'm like this. I'm like that. I'm a ACC. I'm a PCC. I've got 300 hours. I've got 700 hours. You know what? I've got 2,000 hours. All right. I was doing that and I realized that, okay, politically correct words I need to choose. What an ass I am. Let me just share with you where we actually exist in this universe that we belong to, right? Let me just quickly share a video, and thank you, gentlemen, for helping me identify this video. Maybe have the video, please. With sound as well. Just stop that video. Just stop that video. Yeah. Again, play it with the sound on.
That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know.
And the video now.
Everyone you ever
We need video as well.
lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering. Thousands
Okay, stop the video.
of religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines.
You know, it requires all as well. Acceptance. and appreciation.
From this distant vantage point, the Earth might not seem of any particular interest. But for us, it's different. Consider again that dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on the mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam. The Earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena. Think of the rivers of blood spilled by all those generals and emperors, so that in glory and triumph they could become the momentary masters of a fraction of a dot. Think of the endless cruelties visited by the inhabitants of one corner of this pixel on the scarcely distinguishable inhabitants of some other corner. How frequent their misunderstandings, how eager they are to kill one another, how fervent their hatreds. Our posturings, our imagined self-importance, the delusion that we have some privileged position in the universe, are challenged by this point of pale light. Our planet is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. In our obscurity, in all this vastness, there is no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves. The Earth is the only world known so far to harbor life. There is nowhere else, at least in the near future, to which our species could migrate. Visit? Yes. Settle? Not yet. Like it or not, for the moment, the Earth is where we make our stand. It has been said that astronomy is a humbling and character-building experience. There is perhaps no better demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image of our tiny world. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another and to preserve and cherish the only home we've ever known, the pale blue dot.
So this is who we are. And we are talking about ego, right? We are talking about how big we are. We are talking about what all we have accomplished. We are talking about how good looking or sexy looking we are. I was talking about only myself, so come on, don't take yourself otherwise. We are talking about all the things that we have accomplished rather than talking about things that we can actually do for others, right? So let me just take one step forward. Let me just show you a slide, something written there. Just read that and let me know if it makes sense. A newspaper is better than a magazine. A seashore is a better place than a street. At first, it is better to run than to walk. You may have to try several times. It takes some skill, but it is easy to learn. Even young children can enjoy it. Once successful, complications are minimal. Birds seldom get too close. Rain, however, soaks in very fast. Too many people doing the same thing can also cause problems. One needs lots of room. If there are no complications, it can be very peaceful. A rock will serve as an anchor if things break loose from it. However, you will not get a second chance. Does it make sense? What does it mean to you? What's it talking about? What does it mean? Does it mean anything to you? Yes, no? Say something. Yes, no. Which sentence makes a lot of sense to you?
There are no complications, it can be very peaceful.
You have enlightened me today. I love you for this. If there is no complications, I love you for this. It can be very peaceful, I know. So this is like saying if you're unmarried, it'll be very peaceful. Alright, now let me show another slide and let's see if it makes sense to you. Read it again, once again, and now read it. Kite. A newspaper is better than a magazine. A seashore is a better place than a street. At first, it is better to run than to walk. You may have to try several times. It takes some skill, but it is easy to learn. Even young children can enjoy it. Once successful, complications are minimal. Birds seldom get too close. Rain, however, soaks in very fast. Too many people doing the same thing can also cause problems. One needs lots of room. If there are no complications, it can be very peaceful. A rock will serve as an anchor. If things break loose from it, however, you will not get a second chance. Now does it make sense? Yeah? So what do you think? What is that? What is this kite? What's that kite in your life?
Coaching.
Coaching, right? The same thing for me. When I'm talking about kite, I'm talking about the context. What context are you operating from? So the context that I was operating from in my life is competition, right? That in order to get ahead, I need to work harder. In order to work harder, I need to compete with others. So on one hand, I was getting a lot of accolades. I was getting a lot of success, so-called success and progress. However, in this journey, I lost so many other friends of mine. I lost so many friends of mine who were in the same business. So on one hand, I'll work alone and I'll work really fast and I'll not work in team. The moment this struck me, I realized that, you know what, I'm not even a dirt particle in the whole universe that I'm talking about, and I'm talking about winning. It actually helped me to revisit the basic context that I was operating from. And that is the second point that I wanted to speak to you about, that's the context. May I request if you can just share that? Yeah. Now, last month on 16th of January when we had the World Game Conference in India, so the pictures are there, we launched an initiative called I Own. That's a World Game Initiative, right? And the World Game Initiative says that I Own means we are going to connect coaches with the social development sector. What we are doing is, we are bringing all the coaches, whether you're from Ericsson or from other schools, we'll bring you here and we'll connect you to the social development sector and different NGOs which are there. So that we can bring coaching to the grassroots level. So that we can actually help and give the gift of coaching to people who cannot access it. Right? So we are just distributing a card to you that says, I own, I dream, I own, and I accomplish. I promise to take full accountability of my dreams. I pledge to go on and break the shackles of excuses and self-imposed limits. I promise to uphold my vision, my dream, and soldier on, because I own. Just turn this card and you'll find the cause that you would like to stand for. It could be the cause of bringing all your family members together. It could be as simple as that. Or it could be taking care of the health of your family. Or it could be as big a cause like World Game. You might want to play a World Game in the country that you're a part of. Right? So just take 1 minute and write down the cause that inspires me the most is, so write down the cause that you would like to stand for. The cause that you would like to stand for. And write down your name and today's date. A cause that you would like to stand for. Your name and the date. Anyone who has not got the card, please raise your hand so that we can hand it over to you. cause that inspires me the most? Alright, so with this, let me just share with you that we are born to be happy. If only we are going to do two things. One is acceptance and appreciation for ourselves, for all the people that we have. And second one is leading from a context. Yes, no? Right? So this is your moment to write your moments when you could actually declare that I am born to be happy. So may I request everyone to stand up? Stand up. And you've got 1 minute, hug as many people as you would like to. Just share your acceptance and your appreciation. Right? Just share your acceptance and appreciation. And the Russians can actually hug Chinese as well. And the Chinese can hug Bulgarians as well.
Oh, that's nice to meet you. Great. We had a headquarter in Holland. Yeah, but
And keep standing, keep standing, keep standing, keep standing. And just repeat after me that I am born to be happy. I am born to be happy. And give yourself a big round of applause. Thank you so much for being wonderful participants. Thank you.